Blog Talk Radio, the world's largest online radio network.
The Craftsman World of DIY Broadcast Network presents the Down and Dirty Radio Show with Frank Fontana.
Oh my goodness, it's live and it's downtown and it's Chicago stuff. It's the show about all sorts of DIY, men's lifestyle, every other type of thing. I'm talking monotone. It's the Down and Dirty. Here's Frank Fontana.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Down and Dirty, the show that puts the improv and home improvement and gives you all sorts of fun ways to get your hands dirty. Mm-hmm. And that was a real stretch, Alex.
Yeah.
You're keeping the echo on today, huh?
Until I turn it off, which is right now. I turned that off. That was
hit the button.
No, it's back.
Hit the button.
Yep. Sorry.
Good morning, everybody. We got a big show today. Got some fun guests, some good stories, some fine wine and food.
Really?
I don't know. I'm hoping one can hope.
Don't get my hopes up.
That our Hooters waitress from around the corner is going to bring over some fine Wisconsin cheddar and some California red.
Ooh, California. For a second there, I thought you were going to say California raisins.
No. Not so much.
All right.
On the show today, we got, there's a new show on GSN Network, which is a game show network called The Pyramid.
Yeah.
Should I do the whole show with the sticky chew in my mouth?
Yeah, man. What's going on with that?
This is a ginseng mango chew with a slice of ginger in it.
Oh, wow.
It's good for the yin and the yang.
That sounds classy. That makes me
know
want
what
to
I
go
mean.
to Tokyo.
Yeah. Or Chinatown right here in Chicago.
Ew.
Really?
No, not a fan.
Oh, it's good stuff down there. Yeah. Anyway, I just swallowed it.
I don't know where to go.
Mike Richards is going to be joining us. He's the new host of The Pyramid. Remember that game, The Pyramid?
I remember the something $1,000 pyramid.
I think it's a variation, right, Andy, of that?
Yeah, it's just they're more ambiguous about how much they're giving away. Tough times.
Yeah, right. We're in a down economy.
Yeah.
We'll just cut out the number.
The pyramid.
It's just the pyramid.
You just win a pyramid.
But the dude's got a resume that's pretty deep. He's been with Dick Clark for a long time prior to his death and doing all sorts of, major shows, the blooper shows, the other half, which was kind of the counter to The View.
Yeah, he's a producer on all this stuff. So we got to talk to him about why he made the switch.
Right, the plunge in front of the camera.
Yeah, so we can weigh out our pros and cons.
And does every producer want to be secretly a host, Andy? Is this true?
I don't think Andy wants to be a host, no.
I think he does.
Absolutely not.
Really? You have no desire whatsoever?
No, I'm happy behind the scenes.
Really?
Yep. If you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
You're an intrepid producer.
Intrepid.
Yeah.
Shady Andy.
Oh, man. Okay.
All right, and bring it. We have Mike Richards. In Manland, we have Niraj Vora. He's from, I think Athletico's nationwide, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Atletico is a physical and occupational therapy organization. They help people get back on their feet. As a matter of fact, I am a former Atletico client. Hurt my back 2008. Before this whole show was ever around.
It was a tough year.
It was a tough year, man. I was shooting design on a dime, and one day woke up. I was working out the night before. I woke up a little tweaked in the morning. Went down to put my shoes on, and like lightning bolts shot down through my back. And I was like, oh, that didn't feel good. So I toughed it up. I cowboyed up. Walked down to my car thinking I was in pain, and I had like heat and ice and all this stuff. So I went to go sit into my car, which at the time I had a BMW Z3, which is like a Matchbox car for me.
Yeah.
So I sat down into it, and that was it. I basically never made it to the seat.
Gosh.
I fell to the floor in my concrete garage in the city. Laid there for about a half an hour like a floundering fish.
Was it at least nice? Because that sounds like it'd be a nice, cool floor.
It was cool. Definitely was cool. Until some old lady came out in my apartment building and found me laying there like a fish, floundering and screaming in pain. And she called my producers and stuff for me, and I gave her my phone. It was like a scene out of a movie, man. It was great.
So you were like wincing in pain. You weren't just like sitting there being like, okay.
No, this was if I farted, I would have been paralyzed.
Right? Didn't you do that like 6 months ago though?
No, I sneezed. I didn't.
Okay,
fart.
that's what that was.
But close.
Okay.
Close. Anyway, those guys at Atletico brought me back, man. They got me back on my feet. I ended up herniating a disc back in 2008, and now I'm back to boxing, doing CrossFit, doing all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, it doesn't come back.
It will, but you'll get through it.
And Craftsmanship, we got, this is Craftsman Memories, I'm sorry. James McLachlan. Is that right? McLachlan?
McLachlan?
This is a cool, this segment's really coming along. I'm starting to enjoy it.
Yeah.
This is a little bit serious as we transcend from our Frank talk all the way down to craftsman memories, then craftsmanship. It gets a little serious. We have Jan Lewis actually coming in studio. She's the founder of Jan Lewis Designs. You might know the last name. She kind of has a famous husband, Ramsey Lewis. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the jazz
legend,
jazz pianist.
Right. She's going to be in studio revealing her new jewelry line, which is really cool. They go to India and make this custom one-of-a-kind pieces. They're actually debuting it. Andy, is it Bloomingdale's? Wow, that's huge. So she's going to be here on the show telling us how it's made, where it's made, and where she gets her inspiration from. So hopefully it can inspire you guys at home to make some of your own stuff.
Do it.
Right now, let's say hello to our producer, Andy Herman.
Hoochie moochie.
How are you?
Good.
Hoochie moochie.
Yeah, man, it's good. I was thinking of hoochie moochie on the way home. I was traveling last night. TJ Martin, audio. How are you?
Hi, how you doing?
Good, man. You in a good mood today?
Yeah, I'm all right.
You were crabby last week, man.
It was a bad week.
Bad week. Better week this week?
It's gonna be a good week.
It's raining today in downtown Chicago,
Yeah.
and it's kind of gloomy, so we're trying to turn all those frowns upside down. And to do that is my sidekick, Mr. Alex Kende.
Boom. It's a great day. It's gloomy, but
Yeah.
those are great days. You need those.
You notice how you didn't even get music?
No. Here it is.
Oh, there he is.
Remember when we talked like a year ago how about maybe it's about time to change the music? It's been there for a while.
A year. This show's been on the air for 2 years.
I think I'm just gonna make my own music and we'll bring it in and we'll
I
do
think
it
you
that
should.
way. Hey, I built shelves over the week. What?
I know. I saw that on Facebook.
Yeah.
Before you go there, though, I think better yet, we have somebody in studio every Wednesday performing live intros.
To live score my
Yep.
my vocal
Is there
track.
anybody in the house besides Mr. Ken, who's not here today, who, TJ, he'll scream, though.
I think some people can play like the hand harp.
TJ, why don't we use any
Maybe
of
the
your
skin
original
flute.
music to go underneath Alex or myself?
Alex not that dark of a person.
No,
Andy is, though. I think you should do it under Andy.
I mean this music's pretty close to my personality. I think.
Yeah.
You know.
What, sitting on a
just
beach
saying.
in
This was
Jamaica?
an arduous search for this
This
song.
is me-
I remember we went through like 20 songs before you found like
Yeah.
this is the one.
This is the one. This is me on a sailboat. Yeah, in Jamaica.
Drinking a Mai
Chilling
Tai
I don't drink Mai
with
Tais.
an umbrella in it?
You know, I used to be all into going to tropical places and having tropical drinks, but now even when I'm at the beach or somewhere, I'll still just have a glass of bourbon.
Right. And your boat boy, Juan, in
We
his
don't
short
talk about
shorts
Juan.
comes out. We don't talk.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's do a little Frank talk.
How about a little Frank talk?
Juan, come here, Juan.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's wrong.
I just got back from Nueva York last
Saw
night,
that.
9 p.m. Once again, LaGuardia Airport sucks.
Yeah.
They never, ever can get it right. For being the richest city in the world, it is the most ridiculously god-awful airport in the world.
Yeah, but they don't put their money into LaGuardia, right? They put it all into JFK. LaGuardia is kind of away from everything, right?
But
They're
for
on
me,
Long
it's more
Island.
convenient
Is it?
because it takes me 25 minutes to get to the city.
It's true.
But I'm going to try Newark.
Okay.
I'm going for Newark.
Oh, you're going for Newark. See, okay,
Yeah.
because like JFK, I've almost died flying into JFK.
Yeah.
We almost landed on a plane.
Wow.
Yeah. But I mean that happens.
Well, it's better
daily.
that LaGuardia, you're landing in the Hudson. So,
Yeah.
I mean, literally in the Hudson.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a
which-
piece of pavement that sticks out about 10 feet into the water, and that's
Well,
what you're
that's the
supposed to lay
same
on.
with yeah, I know. It's kind of the same with JFK though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Scully. Remember Scully?
I just know Vin Scully from
No. This
LA
is the,
Dodgers.
the pilot who landed in the Hudson, remember?
Oh, Sully.
Sully, there you
Sullivan.
go. Scully. It's all the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah, he's a baller.
Yeah, he's a baller, man. Yeah, I was up there doing the Today Show, pre-recorded a segment that's going to air this Friday. October 5th, is it? This Friday?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah, well, anyway,
October
whatever the
5th.
date is, October 5th, check out the segment. It's all about DIY Halloween, making your own stuff to decorate your home for Halloween. I had a good time. I called Kathleen Hoda witches, which is pretty awesome.
You got away with it?
For a second, and Hoda was like, am I supposed to be offended by that? I said, no, this is all on air, too.
Oh my
So you get to
gosh.
see how the reaction. Kathy Lee, surprisingly, took it really well.
Yeah,
Because
well,
she,
she wasn't there.
she could play the role. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was there, but she wasn't there. Right. I hear you. Other than that, man, you got any gigs coming up this week?
No, man, I'm taking the week off. We got debate to watch tonight. We got all sorts of stuff. I'm taking the week off
Good.
because the marathon.
Building any shelves?
No, I'm done. I built those shelves at home. We went to IKEA. Everything sucked.
Yeah.
So we went to Menards.
Yep.
I don't know if I should say that.
No, probably
Went
not.
to a store.
You went to Menards. You
Actually-
couldn't find anything. You ended up at Sears Hardware, and where you found what?
We did use a lot of Craftsman tools. We spent instead of paying $250 for a shelf to put a TV near, I spent total $35.
Wow.
Mahogany trim,
Because why? Because why, Alex?
because I got my hands dirty and
That's
I did
right.
it myself.
That's why, folks.
Yeah.
Labor is the most expensive part of most any job.
Yeah. And you know what? The labor was great because the payoff of being able to sit down and finally feel like I'm moved into a place that I own
Right.
is awesome.
And you know why? You put a little hard work into it. You got something to talk about when people come over. Well, that's what people don't realize is when you do stuff yourself or you make things yourself, there's a bigger story there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like, oh, I went to Pottery Barn and I bought that. Versus, I sat here this weekend and I honed this shelf and stained it, and it has you got a story there, man.
Yeah. Well, it's just like your journey in life. You can't look at something somebody else has and say, I want that. You've got to go make your own thing.
Oh, wow. Brilliant. Now let's make some radio magic. Let's bring it.
Bring it.
Alex, I know your dream was once to be a game show host, wasn't it?
Yes. Let's, for all intents and purposes, say yes.
I thought it really was. No?
I mean, that's part, yeah. I mean,
I can totally see you hosting a show like Whammies. What was that show?
Whammies. No whammies. Yeah, stop. I don't know. No, I got labeled as that in a high school yearbook, but I don't know if I have my sights set on game show host. But
that's interesting because who does?
sweet.
Some people produce, some people host. On the phone, we have Mike Richards, who is both. And we're curious why. Because some people are just hosts or some people are just producers. What's up, Mike? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty fantastic. Thanks for calling in. You calling in from L.A.?
I am. I'm sitting in my office at The Price is Right. We're going to do 2 Prices Rights today.
Wow.
We're going to do 2 Let's Make a Deals today, and everyone's going to watch Pyramid in the evening.
I seriously thought you were going to say I'm in my pajamas drinking coffee in my living room.
I am in my pajamas drinking whiskey.
Drinking whiskey.
That you taught that.
In true L.A.
Now
fashion.
I'm uncomfortable. How do you know that?
That's funny. Hey, so okay, explain this. You're producing for some of the biggest iconic shows on television, and now you're stepping in front of. I guess you've done both your whole life. Give us your history, because we're just real curious.
Well, I was born. No, I'm just kidding. The whole thing for me was I hosted a talent show literally in 3rd grade because I had no actual talent, and everyone else was like, I can juggle, I can do this, I can do cartwheels, and I was like, I can't, but I can talk. And ever since then, I wanted to host, and I wanted to produce. I went to college for it. That's what my thesis was hosting and producing. Very, very early on, I figured out that Dick Clark was the first one to do that.
Yes.
And I was lucky enough to work with him almost straight out of college.
Wow.
Where
How was that experience? I mean, this guy was a legend.
Well, he's a legend. I mean, I was the vice president of his company for 3 years. And he was the one that really encouraged both the hosting and the producing.
Now, when you say his company, you mean Dick Clark Productions?
Dick Clark Productions, yeah.
Right.
And I produced for them, and I developed new shows for them. But just being around someone like that the experience is unbelievable. And everything you think about him is true, and even better. He's smarter than you think he was. I mean, he was really just that good. There are some people, I think, in any business can get lucky and be in the right place in the right time and do whatever.
Yes.
We
know a few of those.
think he built. Yeah, of course, everyone does. Nothing happened to Dick. Dick happened to the world. Like, it was amazing what he was able to accomplish, and it was because he was so smart. So
let me ask you something,
in a
Mike.
very roundabout way. It was always my plan. I've always wanted to do both.
That's pretty awesome, and I respect that 100% from somebody who has a similar mentality. What was Dick's magic formula? If you were to say to an up-and-coming host, let's say like Alex Kendig, who is somebody who aspires to be a Dick Clark in the future, what was Dick's magic secret?
I think there were a lot. I mean, I think first of all, He was blessed with good looks. He was blessed with an amazing voice.
Right.
That he then honed and made it even better. I mean, it was buttery smooth. But I think that the thing that really set Dick apart was he had all of those attributes. So without the keen business acumen and the ability to see trends developing before anyone else did, he would have been a very serviceable host. You would still have heard of Dick Clark.
Right.
But his ability was to see things developing way before other people did, as if they were super obvious. I mean, I can remember being in his office in, like 2001, 2000, years and years ago, way before the iPod and iTunes and all that. And he was talking to people in the music industry, and I happened to be in the meeting, and he goes, "Oh, soon there'll be no CDs. You'll just get it directly to your house. It'll be like a jukebox, and you'll just push a button, and whatever song you want will be there." And we all looked at him like, he had 5 heads, because that technology was not around. People were not talking about that. But that's just how in tune he was with where the music business was going to go. And then he went on to describe the dire straits that music would end up in. And then we all sat and watched it happen like we knew it was coming. But it was because of him. But that was his overall ability, whether it was bandstand, pyramid, whatever it was to see things before other people did.
So it looks like you're following in his footsteps with the whole being wearing 2 coats with the producer and host gig. And I'm assuming that's your aspiration, right?
It's if I could just do this and keep this going, I'm so lucky to work on Price is Right and Let's Make a Deal. And I know this sounds cheesy. Hosting the Pyramid is like the thrill of my life. It has been so fun. It is such a great game. The folks at GSN have been so good to me, and it's just like I'm like right there and having a blast. I love the game. I love the interaction with the celebrities and the contestants. I love the funny moments it creates. So no one follows in Dick Clark's footsteps.
Right.
Because he's the reason that ABC exists. So,
yeah.
He created genres, so that no one's going to do that. But, as a template, he's a great businessman. I aspire to that. He was a nice man, and I aspire to that. And so, yeah, I mean, you don't even bother with those footsteps.
Right. I mean,
ridiculous.
Like you said, you almost can't, but you are forging your own way, and now you're hosting a very popular show, The Pyramid. Now, is this a take on the $1,000 pyramid? Is that what that was?
Well, there was the 10,000, the 25,000, the 100,000, and so this is a return. And then Donny Osmond did a version. There have been a few versions along the way. Obviously, the most successful one was the one hosted by Dick. And he did over 2,500 episodes between $10,000, $25,000, and $100,000 pyramid. This is the one that goes back to that true format,
cool.
Which was the most pure playing of the game.
And for those newbies, explain to us the format of the pyramid.
Sure. It's, there's a pyramid, and on it are different categories. You pick a category, and then you have a celebrity and a contestant. There's 30 seconds on the clock, and words come up, and you have to describe the word and get the celebrity or the contestant to get the word. If you do that 7 times, that's the goal. So there's 7 words in 30 seconds. And the play-along is amazing.
How good are you at the game?
I have gotten better. I will tell you that I think that the winner's circle is very hard for someone that runs at the mouth like I do, because
right.
You have to be so precise. You can't use prepositions. The winner's circle is the big end game that has very specific rules as to how you can give clues to get the other person to get the words correct.
Right.
But the actual game I've gotten pretty good at. I enjoy it.
So what do you like better, hosting game shows or hosting reality shows? Because you've been there before. You've done Beauty and the Geek, High School Reunion, and many others. Which format for you is your favorite?
I got to say it's the game shows, and it's really simple. There's a live audience. There's instant stakes. There's no, you don't do 5 takes of it. You're there and in the moment, and my job as the game show host is to heighten every moment. This is what Dick taught me, was heighten every moment, reflect the audience. If something funny happens, the people at home are thinking about it, and you should comment on it and and bring it out and make it part of the show. So for me, it's not even close. I love doing the game shows. I mean, I love doing the reality shows. Don't get me wrong, but because there were some funny moments with that stuff. But a game show in front of a live audience and I mean, I was watching the pyramid that aired on Monday, where the guy made it to the winner's circle twice, played for $20,000 twice, and in the second time he won it. That's amazing to me.
Wow.
To watch, to be within 3 feet of someone, or to watch someone. I was running on the treadmill, watching someone win $20,000 in 60 seconds. Like that's
serious.
It's the most exciting 60 seconds on TV.
I mean, that's like drug dealer money right there.
Yeah.
60 seconds. There's
Exactly.
nothing you can make money that quick.
Well, except
No.
for that thing that you said.
Right.
The dealing part.
Right.
The dealing part there.
Exactly.
So I mean, you're taking you're taking on producing a lot of, I don't know what we call them, like staples, like game show staples, like classics, like Price is Right,
Yeah.
and the Pyramid and all that stuff. Are you looking into developing something that's maybe newer or different that doesn't involve just like some of these other new game shows where you're just picking out suitcases?
Yes. It's called Suitcase or No Suitcase.
Right.
And we're going to get a bunch of pretty girls,
Yeah.
and there'll be a banker.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. I'm always part of my job is to develop new game shows, and we're always looking at a new one. In fact, I just did a run through of a really fun one that got a good response. And that's how you start a game show. Is you do it in a conference room, and you see how the game plays, and then you tweak it a little bit, and you see how the game plays. And so I'm always working on new ones. But the great thing about the ones like Pyramid, they evoke a feeling because you remember them.
Right.
But then when you update them, the play-along is even better than you remember because it's stuff that you know now. And that's really it just evokes such a nice feeling.
It's a nostalgic
it's
thing.
exciting.
People are
Yeah.
so, I mean, the biggest thing in television since the birth of television has always been competition game shows.
Yep.
That there's no doubt about that. That's really cool, man. And I feel like you're a guy that would probably be a better Ryan Seacrest. No offense to Ryan, but it's like you haven't become glamorized yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, listen, I think Ryan has done a great job, and
Yes.
I appreciate the compliment, but I think Ryan's done a great job. You know, what he became was, and it was very smart, and it stemmed from his radio days. He figured out how to brand himself very early on, and that's really important in this town.
Yes, it is.
And that's Dick Clark actually never really did. He just was Dick Clark, which
Yeah.
is bigger than a brand. You just trusted him.
Well, Mike, that's
But,
interesting, though. Like, so you're saying as a host, it's better to be packageable in a box than to be unique and out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're looking at which, I can only be who I am.
Right.
And the fun of the Pyramid is I would be watching it whether I was hosting it or not. And the hardest thing hosting it is not jumping in and playing the game because, when you watch the show, the play along is fantastic and you cannot help but yell at the screen.
Right.
And that's bad if the host does that, by the way. They frown on that because that gives the game away. But I think if you look at how people are put into different spots, you don't see many hosts anymore.
Yeah.
You
The
see
guys who
people
talk
that
like
were
this are no longer a host.
Yeah.
Well, and people that know how to drive a game or build suspense or get great moments out of celebrities. That guy, there aren't very many of them anymore.
Yeah.
Because we now go and I'm an offender as well as a producer. You go hire people that are usually known for something else and then put them into a game.
Like America's Got Talent? What's his name?
Nick Cannon.
Oh, God, man. I like Nick. Don't get me wrong. And I'm the type of guy that just says it like it is, Mike. So, I mean, I hope I didn't offend Ryan, but whatever. Nick Cannon, to me, just is not a good host. I don't know. I've hosted tons of shows. I just don't. To me, I don't know. He just doesn't work for me. But I respect him because he's got radio shows. He's got brand, product, all that stuff. How does it
You've
happen?
got Mariah Carey.
He's got Mariah Carey. That helps.
I mean, come on.
Yeah,
But
right.
just because you make a lot of food doesn't mean it tastes good.
That's true. That's true.
Well, yeah, listen, I think that, again, that's one of those, here's a guy who has a very distinct brand who, do I think he's a nuts and bolts perfect host? Listen, I've gotten to work with Monty Hall in bringing back Let's Make a Deal.
Yeah.
There's a nuts and bolts host.
Right.
Yeah.
Bob Barker, that guy could,
Knock it out of the park every day.
perfect.
Yeah.
Unreal. Every time.
Yep.
I don't actually know that either one of those guys would get hired now.
That's true.
Because that's just not what, unfortunately, and I think to the detriment of games, and I feel really fortunate because I put myself more in the nuts and bolts category than in the, I'm a personality who then they're going to put into something whether I fit or not. So, you know, and that is, I think, why I think Pyramid has done really well, is that we went back and we said, here's a great game. What if we didn't muck it up?
Yeah.
And we just said, let's have a lot of fun. Let's worry about pacing. Let's worry about suspense. Let's remind people where they are in the game, and then sit back and watch what I think is one of the best, most fun shows to watch as far as play along on TV.
No doubt.
But you're talking about some of these guys, you know, some of these great legends like Monty and Bob Barker wouldn't get hired today, but you're producing a lot of these shows. So aren't you the guy that's doing the hiring?
Yeah, that's going to say
it's pretty much my fault. I pretty much did it to myself. I mean, in the end, I mean, you know, when I wasn't here on Price is Right when they brought in Drew Carey,
right?
And I did audition to host the show.
Oh,
and that's actually how I ended up getting the job of running the show, was from the audition to host.
Wow,
what?
Which is
That's
really
crazy.
bizarre.
Yeah, very bizarre. Hey, listen, you got a paying gig, so that's good.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Well, you know, most auditions don't lead to a paying gig.
Yeah,
so
right.
That was a good thing.
Yeah.
But I'll say with the Drew Carey thing, at the point that Barker was leaving, you needed, and I believed this, and I was auditioning, someone that you would never compare to Bob, who would come in, do his complete own thing, and do something completely different.
Right.
And that's where I think Drew was a great call, because you never went, wow, he's doing a little bit of a Bob Barker thing.
Yeah.
No one's ever accused him of that. And by the way, Wayne Brady, phenomenal as well.
I agree.
On Let's Make a Deal.
I agree.
But you don't go, man, he's just like Monty.
No,
No.
but he's a great example, Mike, of who I think could be a little bit of the classic host mixed in with a guy who has his personality and a brand. To me, still is respectable as a host, I guess you can say.
Right.
But no, Wayne has more talent in his pinky than most people in this town, and I include myself, as far as how to put on a show. The guy is unreal.
Most guys from that Whose Line Is It Anyway crew was phenomenal.
I mean, Drew Carey's great. He was a great stand-up comic.
Yeah, all those guys are fantastic.
And he's going back out on the road. So
oh, wow. Great.
So cool. Mike, listen, we're getting the wrap-up sign over here. It was such a blast talking to you. I appreciate your candid speech on all the rest of the crew. We like to have a little fun, but we love everybody, Ryan and everyone. Don't mean tweet us after this.
Yeah, Ryan's. And by the way, whoever's mean tweeting, I said Ryan was really good, and I respect what he's done.
Mike
and
purposely
he works harder than anyone I know. So
and listen, dude, I would love to be him. Trust me. I think that is a fantastic thing. But Mike, tell us when the Pyramid airs.
It is on every night, Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock on GSN.
Go to the website.
If you want to be a contestant, go to gsntv.com. You want to be a contestant on it. It's a great game to be on.
I want to be a celebrity on it. How does that happen?
You got to become a celebrity.
I know. How do I become a celebrity first? So I need two things. Become a celebrity first. And so are you thinking ABC list celebrities? How does that work?
I thought we got great people. I mean, we didn't really talk about this, but we really got some great, I think what makes a great pyramid celebrity is being funny and being quick. So stand-up comedians, people on sitcoms, tend to be the best ones, or really smart. You know who Joshua Molina is?
Yes,
He's on the West Wing. Brilliant, right? A great pyramid player because he's smart and funny. I mean, some of his clues, I didn't even follow what he was saying because they were so good.
Yeah.
It was one of those like, oh, yeah, no, I'd never come up with that, but okay.
Well, look, if this guy can...
So, yes.
If this guy can guide Kathy Lee and Hoda through a segment, I'm pretty sure...
I can hold before.
Yeah, exactly.
I can do
That's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure you could.
That's funny.
Do somebody well on there.
Well, good stuff, Mike. It was great talking to you. Go to the website, folks, gsntv.com/pyramid. Check out the show every night on GSN Network, 5 p.m. Central Time. Mike, have yourself a fantastic day.
Thanks, guys. Let's do it again.
You got it. All right. It's time for some Manland.
Welcome to Manland.
Well, it was a muggy morning. November 2008. I woke up. My back just done failed me.
It was a rough day.
A rough day in Chicago. Until I stumbled on a little facility called Athletico. And in studio from Athletico, we have Niraj Vora. He's one of the superior physical therapists at Athletico. How are you, Niraj?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Is his mic on? Because I'm not hearing him through mine. Can you talk into that a little bit? No, I'm not hearing anything.
Did you?
Why don't you cozy up to Alex?
Are you hearing him in there?
Hug him. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Now we can hear you. Welcome to Raj. We appreciate it. So we brought you in for a couple different reasons. We doing construction, carpentry, being in the DIY world, you come across a lot of people who get injured, lifting wood, moving stuff. How many guys or girls coming into your facility are coming into you saying, I was on the work site and ...
Yeah, we get a lot of that. There are a lot of jobs that involve heavy lifting, and a lot of people will come in with a wide range of injuries. I just strained my back, or I've got back pain and it's starting to affect the strength of my leg, or I hurt my shoulder, all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty common, and it's important to make sure that if you're going to be doing a lot of heavy lifting, you're aware of staying healthy, kind of preparing yourself for doing those kind of things.
And you guys at Athletico are experts at not only rehabilitating folks who do have injuries, but teaching you how to survive in the future, right?
Exactly. So preparation is a lot of the important stuff that you should think about when you're doing heavy lifting or do it yourself stuff at home. So we provide free injury screens for people that are worried about something that's starting to bother them a little bit, but not quite something that they want to go straight to the doctor for. And
so do you have to see a doctor first, or can you go straight into an Athletico?
You don't. You can walk in, say, I want a free injury screen, and we provide a 30-minute consultation with your physical therapist, kind of a full body assessment, and take a look at whether your injury needs you to be directed towards a doctor, or if there's something that we can kind of give you some suggestions for.
So at that point, are you guys able to suggest treatment at Athletico, or does it have to always go back to an MD?
Well, in order to get treatment from a physical therapist, you have to get a prescription from an MD or a doctor.
Yeah.
But if there are a couple of things that we can say that are simple, such as maybe you need to stretch out your hamstrings, or maybe you need to work on strengthening your shoulder a little bit, we can always give you suggestions on how to do that.
How much of back injuries, in your opinion, because in our world of construction, carpentry, and DIY, it happens a lot, and it's never like the big time where it's like, oh, I moved this 3,000-pound beam. It's when, oh, I went to go pick up the hammer.
Yeah.
Why does it happen that way? Is the back the culprit, or is it every other body part the culprit?
Well, it can be a little bit of both. A lot of times, like you said, picking up the hammer will bother you, but it's an accumulation usually of having picked up
degenerative
something heavy,
type of stuff. Yeah,
having done it repetitively. So, you can, like yourself, we talked a little bit about your hamstrings being tight and that contributing to your back being injured. And sometimes it's a matter of actually your posture. If people are sitting at their desk all day and then
like me, like right now, I'm a little hunched over. I'm starting to feel a little tightness in my back.
Exactly.
But it's a constant. Why is the body so wanting to go to a bad place naturally versus forcing yourself to sit erect and have good posture?
Yeah, I think that our bodies...
You're rolling your shoulders right now. You're sitting forward.
Yeah.
Sit up, man.
We treat this stuff all day, and we aren't exactly the picture of a perfect posture.
Right.
But I don't think our bodies are made to sit all day, We're made to kind of be moving around.
That's why Alex is standing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And actually, it's a nice break.
Yeah, every 20 or 30 minutes, and it's not possible for everybody, but if you can get up and move around, it's a good thing to do.
Sitting on the exercise balls instead
I was just gonna say the same thing.
Is that a gimmick or what? Because I do that half of my day over in the office.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, that's just made me feel old to say. But so I mean, is that a gimmick, or is that for real, the sitting on the exercise ball thing? Because that makes me hunch over.
Well, I think that it can be a good thing, but it can be different for everybody. It's somewhat a gimmick for some people, but for some people it actually kind of makes you sit up and activate your core a little bit. So it's either a matter of getting in the right chair or getting on the right
Don't you usually end up rolling over it and like laying on your stomach?
I do a lot of that. I do like I'll
you kind of
take
look like a little freak
and,
in the office.
Go under the. You know what? That last segment, I thought the ringing phone was in Mike Richards' office.
No, it's Collins.
It's right here.
We got Collins, and you're ignoring the Collins.
Is this?
Why don't you go ahead? Maybe we have a call in for a Niraj. Let's see. Go ahead, hit the line. Hello. We have a caller, folks. I think. Hold on, we're placing him on hold. Who is it? Wrong number?
Yeah, it's just somebody asking for something, and we're in the middle of a show.
Hey, hold on. We don't sell tools here, folks.
Yeah,
so when you call in, but we do take questions if you want to call in. It's a 1-800-DIY.
Yeah, instead I just said, just a moment, please.
Yeah, it's a creepy
So,
person, right?
They're on hold right now. We'll see how long they stay on the line.
Yeah. Let's do have a little competition, folks. Go ahead and post on our Facebook wall at Craftsman to see what your guess is how long this caller will hold.
Yeah.
And the winner gets a free Down and Dirty T-shirt that Andy will take care of with his own paycheck.
Yeah.
Niraj, the Chicago Marathon's coming up when? This weekend, is it?
Yeah.
This Sunday.
Sunday.
Wow. It's huge. It's a worldwide event. You have people coming from all walks of life. And you guys based here in Chicago are probably going to be dealing with a lot of newbies coming in to see you. What is the role of Athletico in the Chicago Marathon?
Athletico does a lot for the Chicago Marathon. We've got post-race stretching and massage for the runners. We've got during the race, we'll be staffing the emergency medical tents. And then also we tend to see a lot of the runners before and after the marathon in our clinics. Last minute things that are bothering runners will come in for our injury screens.
What are the top 3 things that you hear when runners come in?
There's a lot of knee pain that can be related to overtraining. It can be related to being in the wrong shoes, or it can be a matter of not stretching properly. We get a lot of foot and ankle pain that can be something like plantar fasciitis or Achilles tendonitis.
Right.
And then sometimes we'll get a back pain as well in runners, and that can be related, again, back to the posture, a little bit different, not sitting posture, but more so
Running
what
posture.
you're doing when you're running. Yep.
Interesting.
Exactly.
We still on hold, or is that another caller?
I think that's the same caller.
Scary.
Just took care of that.
We're being stalked, and Alex doesn't want to pick up the phone.
That's pretty much true. So people are running a lot of miles.
Yeah,
How many miles is the Chicago Marathon?
26.2 miles.
That's a long ways.
It's a long way, especially for the first guy who ran it in sandals. Pretty impressive.
Come on.
Yeah. Well, that was the whole thing. The marathon was a guy reporting the end of a war to his home city, which was 26.2 miles away. Wasn't his name Marathon or something like that?
I think it
The
was.
city was Marathon.
Yeah, it was
something like that.
Philippides, right?
Look at
Yeah.
you guys,
And he
man.
ran,
Philippides with
26.2
his
miles to
flip-flops.
report. Yeah, so that was the whole
Is
thing.
that where flip-flops came from?
Oh, I
Philippides?
No, I don't think they were. I think they were like Birkenstocks.
Birkenstocks, yeah.
they
So-
were like those.
so-
But
He had dreadlocks too, right?
you can run a mile. Yes.
Yes.
You can run a mile without any preparation at all. You don't need to stretch or anything. So what's the toll that starts to wear on your body if you haven't prepped at all?
Wait. So you're saying no stretching, go ahead and just run a mile? Because this is a theory.
Because I don't run.
I do
forever.
CrossFit, and the theory is a lion doesn't stretch before he goes pouncing his prey.
Right.
Yeah.
Is this true for the human being?
Well, stretching is something that should be different before and after activity. So before you do something like going out to run a mile, you shouldn't necessarily do a stretch where, the old hold for 30 seconds and then do the other side and hold for 30 seconds. The stretching before you go out and run should be more of what's called a dynamic stretch. So standing in one place and kind of swinging your leg up and down, or doing jumping jacks, or exactly.
Like what Alex is doing here, he's swinging his leg, loosening up the hip.
Exactly, yeah.
Looking a little stiff.
So something where you're moving but stretching a muscle at the same time.
Yeah.
And then afterwards is when you do the hold in place.
Do you do like little couple squats too to get the joints in the knees going?
Get the blood
Power
flowing.
squats. Yeah. Is this squat form correct? Because
Knees are out.
well, knees are out, but I think you got to kick your ass back a little bit. And,
I don't have one. That's why you're not seeing
Well,
it.
maybe that could be the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do for people who have no ass?
I don't know that we have treatment for that.
Really?
Well,
You are chronic, man.
great. So there's no hope.
I'm
for
sorry,
me.
Alex. You have chronic no ass. There's nothing we can do for you. You could
that
get
hurts.
implants though.
I could. I'm not.
Right.
I'm not that guy. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not
No?
gonna do implants. You know what I want?
What?
Ball of my foot implants.
Ball of your foot
Yeah,
implants.
I want like an implant right there at the the bottom, the ball of your foot. I feel like I could do backflips easier.
Is that true, Niraj?
I can shape up my calves.
Easier, as in you do a lot of them now.
No, I just want
He
to
doesn't do a
more.
lot,
I want to
really.
do more. That's how I want to leave.
He wants
a
to do
room.
one, basically.
That's how I want to leave a room. That's how I want to enter the L train.
I don't
Wait, so
know
you
that
want to
I've
leave
heard of
this
that.
room backflipping out?
Yeah, through the glass.
I'd pay you for that.
I bet you would. But thing is, I gotta have money for the ball of my feet implants first.
And to invent them, maybe.
Why don't you run the Chicago
that's easy.
Marathon?
Just a sec.
What we'll do this. We'll do a fundraiser. You run the Chicago Marathon. We'll sell candy bars and all that kind of stuff to support your put in place.
I will die if I run the marathon. What you know what? That actually brings up a good question. Let's say somebody I did run the Chicago Marathon, by the way.
You did?
For like half a block because the street was shut off and I had to get to Second City and it was on the other side.
I guess I did too because I had to cross the street during the marathon. So I mean, technically, I ran across the marathon.
Oh, so, yeah, I went and blended in and then Froggered my way over.
Yeah.
So,
which, if you haven't seen it, it's actually like Frogger. You have to kind of navigate the street to get across because they block off an entire.
Yeah. And as long as it's just like one person at a time or something like that, they don't necessarily stop you from doing that. But let's say somebody is looking at the Chicago Marathon and they're thinking, well, I'm out of shape, but they want to be running one by this time next year.
Yeah.
Do you know of any steps that they could take sequentially?
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's a pretty inspiring thing to be out there and see the crowds and see people running. There's 45,000 some runners, and it's an inspiring thing. So I'm sure people are going to try to get out there and run. My suggestions would be a couple of things. One would be, depending on how long it's been since you've run, you want to start out really slowly. So starting out with something like a jog-walk program where you're jogging for a minute and walking for 2 or 3 minutes and doing that repetitively is usually a good idea. Making sure that you are adding stretching and some strengthening to your program is usually a good idea as well, so not just running 7 days a week.
Core training has to be a huge part of it.
Exactly. Doing some type of cross-training is great, and not just running, but getting on a bike or going for a swim. Those kind of things are great. And then the third thing that you want to be really aware of is listening to your body. So if you're starting to feel something that's a small ache or a pain, it's really important that before it becomes a big issue that you're getting out and at least having somebody with some professional knowledge tell you what to do. And that's when something like Athletico would come in, either going to our website, www.athletico.com, or walking into one of our clinics and asking for an injury.
Which I'm a huge believer, folks. If you got a little something that's nagging you, got a little pain, don't ignore it because it's going to lead to something bigger. And I am speaking from pure truth. I was a guy who was like, my back always kind of bothered me. I knew there was something there until it came down like a lightning bolt. To tell me go now, and don't wait for those moments, folks. Go into Athletico. Go check them out, athletico.com. Again, there's some of the kindest, most knowledgeable people on the planet in this field, and I'm speaking from true experience.
I appreciate that.
Raj, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it, and keep up the good work, man.
Thanks a lot.
Hopefully, I'm not going to see you soon.
Not in the clinic.
Exactly. All right, it's time for some Craftsman memories. All right, joining us on the phone is James McClacken. I think I'm saying this right. Maybe you can help me, James. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Am I saying your last name correct?
Is it McLaughlin that you said?
I think I did, yeah.
Then you did.
Close enough. So, Mac, tell us, can I call you Mac?
Yes.
All right, cool. Mac, you have Alex and Frank here on the line, and we want to hear your Craftsman memory.
Well, it all started when I was just a young kid, and my dad was a diesel mechanic and had worked for the same company for 45, 50 years. And early on, I noticed that all of his tools he got from Sears, and pretty much all of them said Craftsman. And he had them all at work, and he had a bunch at home. And one of the things that he taught me from an early age is that the name on the tool should be what I strive for no matter what I'm doing. So if I was building a project or fixing a car, whatever it was, to think like a craftsman.
Right.
And then to do it to the very best of my ability.
Wow.
So that, when somebody saw the work I did, they knew that it was done right and it was done by somebody who cared.
Right. And, just hearing you tell that story kind of gave me chills because, you hear the name Craftsman all the time and you think of it as a brand. But when you put it in perspective in a real human sense, like, I aspire to be and be recognized as a craftsman, somebody who's great and has a certain ability and does it well, that just adds a whole new meaning to the tool.
Right. It does. And thankfully, when my dad passed away last year, I'd brought all of his tools to my garage. So, I mean, we're pretty well full. and I've given some of them to my two sons, and I've been teaching them the same values that my dad did with me when they saw that name on the tools.
And how is this generation responding to it?
Well, for a sake of example, my youngest son, he's 15. He was hired by our next-door neighbor just to do some basic landscaping for them. And when he got done, they came over to our house, and they said that they never expected that level of commitment to the job being done from a teenager. So, of course,
so great to hear.
We're quite proud of that.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and to me, in this time in America, in our economy, it's like to go back to me is that Main Street kind of mentality of, get your hands dirty, do it yourself, help your neighbor, and passion for what you do, using the right tools for the right job, is exactly what you're talking about. And it means so much to us here at Craftsman. And I want to tell you, James, we got a little something for you, and we want to thank you for being such a fond fan of our brand and such a great guy. We're going to send you a Craftsman Hammerhead Auto Hammer. I don't know if you have one yet, but if you don't, you're going to love this addition to your Craftsman collection. You can drive a nail in about 3 seconds. So go ahead and throw that old hammer you got away and replace it with our new Craftsman Hammerhead.
That works for me.
All right, buddy. Thanks so much for calling in, and have a great day.
All right. Thanks a lot, Frank.
You got it. All right, it's time for some craftsmanship.
It's all about craftsmanship.
I'm so excited to bring our next guest in because I've kind of did some research and I found her jewelry collection online, and I saw some photos. And joining us in studio is Jan Lewis from Jan Lewis Designs. And I can see her. She's wearing a couple of her pieces, which are pretty fantastic. Jan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Once you get settled there, Alex will help you out here.
Should I take my bangles out now?
Please take the bangles out. How you been?
Very good. Busy. Very busy.
I hear your collection is going to land in Bloomingdale's this week, right?
Not this weekend, next weekend.
Next weekend.
Friday and Saturday.
That is fantastic.
So
now,
this is the first collection.
Tell us how you got in the jewelry business.
Well, I didn't really plan to get in the jewelry business, but I have always been interested in art and would travel with my husband. After I got out of art school, I went to the Art Institute, School of the Art Institute for a number of years and didn't study anything about jewelry design, but mainly graphic design. And when I got out of school, my schedule wouldn't allow me to do anything full-time. So when I was on the road with Ramsey, I took these wooden bangles and acrylic paints. I had my own little station I could set up in whatever hotel room we were in. And while he would perform, I'd stay at the hotel and paint. And
just for the viewing audience who's just tuning in, her husband is Ramsey Lewis, the
Correct.
jazz legend. So when she's on tour, she's with Ramsey. So he's doing his thing, and you're doing yours, pretty much.
Yes, and when I started out, like I said, I hadn't really didn't know what I was doing when I started. So I thought, well, what do I paint? And I'm not a painter. So I just started with dots. And I said, okay, I'll just get my bearings with some dots. And then...
so the forms came first, then you were thinking graphics?
Correct.
Okay.
And so I've always been intrigued with shapes and designs and things like that. And so I started placing these dots, and then I'd work on like 3 at a time. And I'd run out of ideas on one of them, and then I'd pick up another. And then I'd go back to it and add to it, and it just kind of happened that dots were my signature.
Nice.
And it's what I love to do. And
well, there's a very first of all, the shapes are very cool, but the dots themselves have a very I don't want to say tribal, but Aboriginal type of a vibe to them. But yet the shapes are very geometric and modern. So there's a clash, which I think is a positive thing, of the two styles that make it so unique. Where do you get the... now, I'm assuming those hand-carved wood pieces?
Yeah, I got them originally at an art store in Evanston years and years ago. And I went back... Well, when I did these in the early 90s, this original designs. And... looked into getting them reproduced then, but was told they were just too detailed and couldn't be done. Because to do each one is very time intensive. So, for me to do
So you
each one
basically
would take
made models
Yes.
that you held on to since the 90s.
Yeah.
And which is a great, story of never giving up on your dream.
Exactly. And so I put them in the back of my closet. I knew someday I was going to be able to do something with them. So I put the box in the back of my closet for like 20 years. And in that time, I worked with Ramsey and on his career and the business side of it, which I enjoyed very much.
Which, by the way, I always wondered, how did you meet Ramsey?
Oh, gosh, years ago. I was working as a cocktail waitress while I was going to college part-time. I was working
as a cocktail. What's that song? How's that go?
And that was in Denver, Colorado in the early 70s. And Ramsey was opening a nightclub around the corner. And he was staying at the place that I was working. It was like a hotel with a bar and a restaurant. So I was working in the bar. And it was really just the window for us to meet was just like, I don't know, 20 seconds or something.
Wow.
I never worked a day shift, and so I was going at 11 o'clock in the morning from the bar into the restaurant to get the bartender some coffee. And when I walked back, Ramsey was in the lobby waiting for a taxi to go out somewhere. And he happened to turn around just as I was walking back into the bar and saw me. And so he came into the bar and sat down at 11 o'clock in the morning, and nobody else was in there. I mean, It was the first time I'd ever done that in the day.
Did you know who he was right off the bat?
I had heard he was there, but I didn't even know what instrument he played. I didn't know anything about him. And but I knew by his presence that he was
somebody,
probably him.
Yeah.
And so he asked me to come to the show, and I said, sure. So that's how we met.
Wow.
Years ago.
What a beautiful story.
Yeah. It was very, very interesting. Very interesting.
And were you into designing back then?
Yeah, I'd always been interested in art. I kind of grew up that way, but I got my degree in anthropology at the University of Illinois, and I had taken a couple of art classes then, and I really, really enjoyed it. And so that's when I decided to check into the Art Institute, and just had a great time there. In fact, I know this is all about wood, and I did I took all kinds of hands-on classes that I could, and one of them was a wood shop class, and
Really?
I made a 35 millimeter camera.
Out of wood?
Out of wood. That I found. Do you want to see it?
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, you don't have any pictures of it, but man, even better, you got it right here.
Oh my gosh.
It took me, I had to go way back in the back of my closet.
Holy
but
cow.
It really came out cool.
Wow.
gosh.
That is super.
Look at that. Do you remember what different types of wood you used on this?
I have no idea. It was like
God, look at the detail.
20 years ago.
Let's see
I
if we
did
can
it in
guess here.
1986.
Wow.
How did you get all this detail in there?
Well, it was a whole semester. That project was our entire semester.
So cool.
That is really neat.
I mean, this is so detailed.
Yeah.
And you put this in the back of a closet? I have this on
Yeah.
a countertop somewhere.
Yeah.
This is pretty
Well,
awesome.
really cool.
I actually hadn't thought of that.
Don't break
Yeah.
it.
No,
No, I
I'm
know.
like afraid to
Yeah.
Here.
Well,
wow.
I wasn't sure the glue would still hold, but nothing's fell.
Nothing like wood glue. Let me tell you, that
Yeah,
thing will
that's-
stick forever. Stronger
Exactly.
than nails.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's in good shape then.
So you've had this art vein in you for a long time.
Long time.
I'm so happy that you translated it into a product now that I could see brings your anthropology-ish vibe, into this whole thing, and mixed with your creative side, and now you got this beautiful line. Why don't you hold up a couple pieces so the viewers can see what we're talking about here? The cameras are everywhere. It's kind of like a hidden camera show. You'll never know where they
Never
are,
know.
but
Yeah, and they're all kinds of. What's fun is they're
why don't you
they're
hand
fun
me
to
a couple
stack.
of those, Alex?
Yeah.
They're fun to stack, and the triangle ones surprisingly are very comfortable because if you have it on and you put your wrist down, it goes
Right in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, these are the prototypes, or are these the actual
No, these
replicas?
are when Ramsey and I went to India, which is another place where when I was looking around at all of them, it was
Color.
absolutely incredible. The color was great, and also a lot of the designs are very Indian as well. So it's
Yes.
just kind of, across all.
And this is like
nationalities.
beautifully lacquered and painted,
Yeah.
and so
So these are what my producers, I found fair trade producers in India, and the quality of their craftsmanship is just terrific. And these are what they did. So this is the
So this is the official line. It's going to be in Bloomingdale's by next week. And you could tell they're all handmade.
Yes, each one's handmade.
No dot is perfectly aligned, which, by the way, folks, that is the beauty and essence of the product, is that you're getting, not a machine manufactured piece of jewelry. This is handmade, beautiful pieces. And what is the line going to be called?
It's Jan Lewis Designs, and this is the Premier collection, my first collection. And if you notice, there's a texture to it, and which is by design as well. It's a kind of a design element so I use fat paint, and it took me a little while to get my
fat paint
producer fat paint, yeah, because it's acrylic paints, and I just if it's thinner, then it just kind of all blends in.
Now, do you follow trends of women's jewelry? Do you obviously what's in the stores, but are you trying to start a new trend, or to kind of pick up where bracelets left off, let's say?
Actually, no. I just kind of do what I do, and I did these 20 years ago, and I think they're as relevant today as they would have been then.
I would
more so.
agree 100%. That copper one with the cobalt blue is just spectacular.
These two, yeah. These two
these are
cool.
true color inspirations right there.
Yeah. And that's the hardest part for me, is deciding on colors, because this is the whole spectrum.
Well, that's everybody's hardest thing, even in your home. I mean, that's as a designer, that's the number one problem I get. I get phone calls all day long. Me and my husband can't agree on the color. I can't pick a color for the baby's room. Right? Help me do this. So you're right. Color is one of the most difficult, especially when you're clashing color the way you are. You're breaking some rules, and it's working.
Exactly.
That's a great thing.
Yeah.
It makes your pieces even more unique.
Yeah, and sometimes I feel like I'm way out on a limb, and I say, well, I'm going with it anyway, just do it.
And that's what artists do. And I consider you an artist. Do you have a website where people can get the stuff online?
Yes, janlewisdesigns.com. I have a store, and they can go there and see the whole collection. It's my web designer, Michael Cokes, did a beautiful job, and you can see different faces of each bangle, and then
So are the
which one
three
you want.
shapes looks like a nut shape?
That's octagon.
Octagon.
There's 6 shapes.
Triangle, square, and then I'm assuming circle.
And round and triangle. Yeah, there are however many there are. I lose track. I had an oval, and I had another one, but the ovals didn't work too well.
What's your top sellers?
I don't know. Well, it remains to be seen. This is the first time
You're
out
launching
there.
big time.
Yeah, this is my
Are you
launch.
excited for the big Bloomingdale's?
I am very excited. What an opportunity to have a trunk show
Is
at
it going to be?
Bloomingdale's.
Oh, so it's going to be at Chicago, in the Chicago Bloomingdale's?
Yes, on Michigan Avenue.
On Michigan Avenue. Okay.
And 2 days, on Friday the 12th from 4 to 8 p.m. and on Saturday the 13th from noon to 7.
That's great. Folks, if you're around town, come on down. You're going to be there yourself?
Oh, yeah. And Ramsey will be there.
Meet Ramsey Lewis. Jan Lewis will be there debuting her new jewelry line. They're beautiful pieces, folks. You got to go check out the website. Better yet, go see her live and get yourself a couple pieces. What are the retail prices for this, by the way?
The narrow ones are $80 and the wide ones are $100.
Super affordable for one-of-a-kind pieces, made with lots of love.
And I also brought you a cookie. These are going to be a gift with purchase at my trunk show.
At the trunk show. So check this out, folks. You get your own customized cookie that listen, you could win me over with food any day.
These are great cookies.
I'm going to eat this as soon as the show is over. Thank you so much, Jan. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Folks, Jan Lewis, a true honor. And, Ramsey's record is doing well, the new one?
Very well.
Awesome.
Very well.
Good stuff.
He's
Tell him
doing
we
great.
said hello. He's an old friend to the show. And I want to thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right, folks. Well, that's our show here for the Down and Dirty. Another great episode. I want to thank all my special guests. The host of The Pyramid, Mike Richards, joining us earlier, and bring it. Niraj Vora from Athletico, teaching us how to do DIY the right way without getting hurt, folks. Go to their website for some more tips. And then James McLaughlin, our Craftsman Memories caller, who's a great guy and good supporter of the Craftsman brand and has been for a long, long time. And finally, Jan Lewis of Jan Lewis Designs and her fine jewelry. Go check her out next weekend at Bloomingdale's here in Chicago, Michigan Avenue. And for the show here, I'm Frank Fontana. Visit my website, frankfontana.net. Go check out Alex on Facebook because he probably still doesn't have his website up yet.
I built shelves instead of a website.
He built shelves instead of... See, that's what they used to do in the old world. Nobody built websites. They built shelves.
Yeah, maybe it's time to build a website now that I got the shelves done.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that should be next week's project.
I might work on it tonight while I'm playing my debate.
There you
drinking
go.
game.
Big debate tonight, folks. Obama versus Romney. Don't miss it.
Ding, ding.
And don't miss this show every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time right here on Blog Talk Radio /DIY, or watch the live stream feed at TJ.
Oh, gosh.
bit.com/DDRadio.
Bit.ly.
You would think he'd take more pride in that moment. Like he'd be like the Bob Barker of the...
No.
Come on, TJ, give me a little love on that. TJ, where can people tune in and see the video feed of the show?
bit.ly.com/DDRadio.
Yes.
Thank you, TJ. That's the way to end the show, folks. Thanks for watching. And like I always say, if your hands ain't dirty, you didn't do it yourself. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Craftsman World of DIY Broadcast Network.
Blog Talk Radio, where millions of hosts and listeners gather.